Hey guys, welcome back. So in today's video, I thought it'd be kind of cool to do something different as far as content goes for this YouTube channel, as well as something new that I've never done for myself. So I have always been a huge fan of comic book art. It's one of my favorite forms of artwork, and I've always been a collector of CGC books. But I've always mainly been a collector of the Signature Series books. So for example, I would go to the conventions, for example, New York Comic Con, walk up to the artist's table, Adam Hughes in this case, get the book signed, hand it off to CGC. CGC takes the book and then mails it back to you. So in today's video, we are doing something completely different that I have never done before. I am taking 36 raw comic books and I will be mailing them into CGC myself. So I'll show you the process as far as packaging them goes. I thought it'd be really fun to see the before and after. So I'll show you which titles I'm sending in, and then it'd be really fun to see what grades I get back. So as you can see behind me, this is pre-recorded and the books did come back. I do have the grades already. They came back about 2 days ago. Just to give you a little sneak peek, one did come back, a 9.9, and there might be a few more. So let's check them out. So here's a look at the raw comic books that I'll be sending into CGC. There's going to be 36 of them. It's a mixture of DC, Marvel, and a little bit of Disney. So up first we have this Snow White cover. This was done by Goblin Comics. They kind of take DC or Marvel or even Disney characters and do their own little sexy twist to them. It's not a main publisher such as DC or Marvel. In this case, it's a not so well known publisher, but they do these amazing covers. This artwork is done by an artist named Shikarri. So this is a lingerie variant. They make a whole bunch of different variants. So I have the regular edition without the tattoos, and then I had a second copy with the tattoos on her. And taking a look at the tattoos, they're all Disney and, in this case, Snow White inspired tattoos on her body. Also, I have a whole bunch of these Detective 1000 comic books. I have a bunch of the Virgin editions. I have a bunch of the trademark editions, and then I have one sketch edition. So this is artwork done by Jason Fabok. It's what is also the inspiration for the Prime 1/3 scale statue. So there's 3 Virgin copies, 3 trademark copies, and then I have the 1 sketch edition that I'll be showing you in a minute. And the difference between the trademark and the Virgin is with the trademark, you have the logos and the writing, any branding is on the book, and the Virgin copies don't have all of that on it. It's just the artwork by itself. So here's a look at that sketch edition. It's actually more of a inked version because it's all inked, but they call it a sketch edition. It's a black and white book. So really nice copy. And this one is super popular and very hard to find. Up next, I have a few copies of this book here. This is Harley Quinn number 24. So same thing with this. They do a trademark as well as a Virgin edition. This is the trademark. It has the Harley Quinn across the bottom. So really nice artwork by Warren Louw. So I have 1, 2, I believe 3 copies of this. And then this is going to be by Goblin Comics again. It's the same artist, Shikarri. So again, this is I believe the lingerie variant, and this is obviously supposed to be Poison Ivy. So again, this artist does some really amazing work. If you're not familiar with him, I definitely recommend checking him out. One of the things that he does very well is skin texture. His artwork on paper just looks like a realistic photograph. So really nice work by Shikarri. Then I have these Justice Society books. So I've actually been collecting a lot of these books with the tattoo covers on them, with the characters being all tattooed and inked up. So this is done by Nathan Szerdy. He's the one that's been putting out those tattoo variants if you ever see them. So this book right here came in two different variants. One had the tattoos on them. So I believe there's 3 copies of this one as well. And this is going to be Power Girl. And then for the same title, he did a slightly different cover, as well as it not having the tattoos all over her body. But again, very beautiful artwork by Nathan Szerdy. It's Justice Society of America. And again, there should be 3 copies of this as well. And this would also be considered the trademark edition. The first 3 with the tattoo is considered the Virgin edition. This one right here is Batman Adventures number 12. It's not the original. The original would be the first appearance of Batgirl. This was another variant that they put out of that title called Batman Adventures number 12. It's artwork by Artgerm, featuring Harley Quinn from Batman Adventures. So again, another beautiful cover and more beautiful artwork by Artgerm, who just happens to be one of my favorite comic book artists. So now these books right here I've had for a while. This is Batman number 655. It's considered the first appearance of Damian Wayne. This book is very hot right now. It is heating up because of the recent announcement of Batman Brave and the Bold. We just got that new director in, James Gunn, who said he's going to be working on that movie. So there's a lot of speculation that we'll see Damian Wayne. And anytime there's a movie announcement with new characters in it, those first appearance books always skyrocket in price. So I'll be sending these in. Hopefully they come back a decent grade and I could hold on to these for an investment. I've had them for a while as it is already. So this is also Batman number 655, but this was the variant edition. They only made so many of this one right here. This one's not in the greatest condition, so I'm not sure how it's going to come back. I'm not even sure it would come back a 9.0. It has really bad spine ticks that break color. It has really bad creases in the cover. It got damaged during shipping, and it's just a tough book to get in general, so I didn't really complain about the shipping, and I just held on to it. But all these books I'm sending in are getting pressed, so hopefully that will improve the grade. This one right here is Batman number 656. This book is also heating up a little bit, not as much as 655, but this one's also considered like the first full appearance of Damian Wayne. So while the issue number 655 is climbing in price, a lot of people are going after this one as well because it's not as expensive so far. But another great book to collect if you're in the market for first appearance of Damian Wayne. And this is going to be Batman number 423. It's a Todd McFarlane cover. This was what they call sketch edition, but to me, like I always say, it's more of an inked edition because it's not the pencil or line work. You're actually seeing it inked. So, but they call it sketch edition, but to me, I call it the ink edition. But anyway, it's a black and white variant of this issue, which was also, again, very limited and another hard book to find, Batman number 423. So another book heating up is Spider-Gwen right now, most likely due to the animated movie that came out, Into the Spider-Verse, with Miles Morales and Spider-Gwen. So again, this book is climbing in value. So I've had these for a very long time, and I feel like it's the good time to send it into CGC. This is the Phantom variant of that issue, which is the homage cover to Spider-Man number 300 by Todd McFarlane. So I have the colored version of that, and then I also have a black and white, also again, more limited edition of that cover. So that was Spider-Gwen number 1. And then I have the regular comic book version edition that came out in the comic book stores. It was the mass-produced book of Spider-Gwen number 1. This was her first title. Again, this book is heating up and raising in value because her first appearance is kind of tough to find, and it's also very expensive. A CGC 9.8 of Spider-Gwen's first appearance now goes for well over $1,000. So more people that don't want to spend the money on that book are going after her first series of her first own title, Spider-Gwen number 1. So this book is also climbing in value. I've had these books for a very long time. I think at one point I had about 20 copies of these. So I just took my best 5 to 10 books. As you can see, I have a lot of them, and I'll be sending in my best 5 to 10 copies. So they're all really nice copies. Like I mentioned, I took the best of that title. I had a lot of them. In general, I'm just really super excited to see what grades I get back on all of these books, because this is one of my most biggest submissions that I've ever done, as well as the first time, as I mentioned in the intro, the very first time that I'm actually mailing books directly into CGC. And that brings us into the next process, getting these all packaged up and fully protected. This way they arrive to CGC in great condition, no damage. It is a lot of books to ship at all once, so I am a little bit nervous, but I've been shipping books for a long time, not directly to CGC, but I'm pretty confident I can get these all there safely, and they'll remain in the same condition. All of these books will get pressed, so that should help out with the grade. Anytime you mail books to CGC, whether you use CGC's services or your own private presser, I always recommend getting the book pressed. Even if the book looks mint condition, you never know, there could be a little fold or bend on the inside page or something you're not seeing. It's not that much more money to get the book pressed, so if you can, always get the book pressed. It's definitely worth it to have the book come back a grade lower than what it could have been because you didn't get it pressed in the first place. So if this is your first time sending books to CGC and you're watching this, try to get the book pressed before you get it graded. So now what I like to do when I mail books, even if it's just one book that's very valuable, I like to use MDF board or any type of smooth wood, and I sandwich the book in between 2 pieces of wood that are cut slightly larger than the comic book, and then I tape them down. This way they don't shift around during shipping, and this just guarantees that the book's going to get there 100% safe, and I don't have to worry about the book getting damaged. It's solid wood. If it gets banged into, nothing's going to happen to the book. If somebody tries to crush the box, nothing's going to happen to the book. And because this is so many books, we're sending 36 books. I am definitely doing the same process again. I am using a few pieces of wood. I'm going to do 2 different sandwiches stacked on top of each other. So I'll quickly go through that and show you what it looks like. I separated the books into 2 batches. They went into a CGC plastic sleeve, which holds them nice and tightly, and then I taped around it to make sure the books don't shift, and that created my 2 separate batches, and then each one will get, as mentioned, sandwiched in between 2 pieces of MDF board. And then once you have everything packaged up, you'll also include a copy of the submission form that you filled out online. All that gets thrown into the box, and you can mail it out to CGC. And here's the final look of everything all packaged up before being sent out to CGC. I put a layer of bubble wrap, barrier of bubble wrap, I should say, over onto the bottom as well as the top, and all of my books are pretty much in the center. This way they can absorb any impact of this box being thrown around. So the next step from here is to send them off to CGC.
A few moments later.
All right, and the books are back from grading from CGC. So now I sent the books there in one box. CGC sent the books back in 2 boxes. I think the cutoff is 25. So if you ever send a large submission like I just did to CGC, I believe it's 25 books per box for getting them back to you. But anyway, I am super excited to see what grades I got. So let's check them out. Okay, so let's see what grades I got on these books that I submitted to CGC. And first up, we'll start off with the Detective Comics. I had sent in a whole bunch of these, and right off the bat, we have a 9.8 on the virgin cover, meaning it doesn't have any of the trademarks with the writing or the logos, no branding. So we got 198 on the virgin. Detective Comics number 1000, Jason Fabok. So 198 there. We got another 98 on the virgin. Super happy. So that's 2. One more 9.8, Detective Comics on the virgin. So we were 3 for 3 on the virgin covers. So now these are the trademark covers. They have the logos and the branding. So we have a 9.8 on one of those. I believe I sent in 3 of these as well. Another 9.8 for the trademark. These were all by Yesteryear Comics. Here's the third one. Again, another 9.8. So doing really good so far. Super happy with all the grades on these books. And then the last one was going to be the sketch, or it's more of like an ink cover. And also super happy with this. Another 9.8. Very tough book to find. So really great. Jason Fabok. This is what the Prime 1 statue was based off of. This artwork right here. So all of the Detective 1000s came back with a 9.8. So that's super awesome. Let's get to some of the books I've been collecting lately. The artwork of Shikarri. Again, another 9.8. This one's called Totally Rad Life of Violet number 1. And these are made by Goblin Comics. It's kind of like a off-brand publisher. Does all different, somewhat copies of DC books and Marvel books and Disney characters, and puts their own like little sexy twist on the characters. So that's what these are, and that's why it always has like a strange title. This is the tattoo variant. So it's just got all tattoos on her. This is a Snow White. So 9.8 on that one. I had sent in 2 of those. This is the non-tattoo edition. I believe it's the lingerie cover. So again, Totally Rad Life of Violet, number 1, Snow White by Shikarri. So another 9.8 on that. And then something I'm super happy about. I have never owned a 9.9 in my collection, yet have sent in a book to CGC and received a 9.9. So the fact that I actually sent this in myself and it came back a 9.9 is absolutely incredible. So this is going to be a twist on Poison Ivy with the lingerie. Again, this is by Goblin Comics, and this one's called Totally Rad Halloween Story, number NN. Again, artwork by Shikarri. So super awesome, 9.9. And if that wasn't good enough, I actually sent in 2 of those, if you remember, and they both came back as a 9.9. So not only have I never owned a 9.9, I now have 2 of them, both on the same book. Books that I submitted myself. So super incredible. I guess now my goal would be to try to get a 10.0 one day. So really awesome. Got 2 of those. All right, next up, let's start with some of the Batman stuff. I should say Harley Quinn. I sent in a whole bunch of these as well. This was Harley Quinn number 24. This one was by KRS Comics. So I believe this is the trademark one with the writing on the bottom. There was also a Virgin edition that they did of this. This one's pretty cool. You have the, I don't know if you can see it in the background, that super popular cover of Wonder Woman, black and gold in the background there. So yeah, Harley Quinn number 24. This is by Warren Louw. So again, we sent a whole bunch of these in. So here's one, 9.8. 2, 9.8. Here's another one, third one that I had sent in. Again, all 9.8s. So really happy with those grades, obviously. Next up was the Justice Society of America number 1. So now I believe I sent in 3 of these as well for the Virgin, which is, the Virgin had a little bit of a different take on Power Girl as far as how the cover looked. So these came back to 9.6. Not really sure why. They looked really good. So I'm not really sure what happened with these books. They came back as a 9.6, but nonetheless, it's still a great cover. It's artwork by Nathan Szerdy. I've been collecting a lot of these. They have the characters with the tattoo art, which I really love. I've always been a fan of, tattoos and ink. So really cool. So that one came back as a 9.6. Again, another Virgin cover also came back a 9.6. Again, from what I can tell, I don't see anything unless there was something going on the interior pages, or just something I'm not catching, but they look like 9.8s to me. But another 9.6. And then the third one also came back a 9.6. So a little disappointing to see them like that, especially when I do not see any defects myself. So not sure why that happened, but we got 3 9.6s on those. However, the other variant for that issue, Justice Society of America number 1, the Syndicate edition, I had sent in 3 of these. This was the regular edition without all the tattoos all over her body. This came back a 9.8. So that looks great. Sent in 3 of them. Second one came back a 9.8. And the third one also came back a 9.8. So did really good on those. Next up, we had Batman Adventures number 12. Not the original. The original would be the first appearance of Harley Quinn. This was a newer release. It was done by Artgerm. This is Artgerm Collectibles Edition B. This was a Fan Expo exclusive. And it's Harley Quinn from the Batman Adventures. Actually pretty happy with this, even though it's a 9.6. This wasn't a book I picked up myself. Somebody had sent this to me. I believe it was Matthew Martin. So shout out to Matthew for sending this in to me. At the time it came in, I did see a lot of defects with spine ticks. So I wasn't even thinking it would even reach a 9.6. I thought it would be more around a 9.4. So the fact that it came back a 9.6, I'm super happy with that. I wasn't expecting a 9.8 on this. Next up, These I'm a little disappointed with. I was hoping they would come back a little bit higher. So now this is a hot book right now. It's the first appearance of Damian. There's rumors that he's going to be in the upcoming movie with James Gunn, Batman Bold and the Brave. And this book has been heating up. Anytime a movie is released with the character, the first appearance always seems to heat up that book. So this is the first appearance of Damian in cameo on last 2 pages of the story. You have a Joker appearance and Talia al Ghul appearance. That's what the label says. So I sent in a few of these. This one came back a 9.4. The second one, also a 9.4. I was hoping a few of these would have hit at least a 9.6. I wasn't expecting a 9.8. Again, I knew there were some defects along the spine as far as ticks go. I did have them pressed, which seems to have gotten out most of it. If I didn't have these pressed, they probably would have been about a 9.2 or a 9.0. So the second one got a 9.4. And then I had sent in a few more, but what I had done was anything, I believe I set it to a 9.2 or maybe it was a 9.4. I had requested that anything that graded below that grade, say a 9.4, I did not want them to grade it. That's an option you have. And they won't grade the book, and they just send you back the raw copy of the book. So I did send in a few more of these Batman number 655s, and they were returned to me, so they obviously graded a lot lower than a 9.4. At that point, it wasn't worth to grade the book with the grade that low. This is Batman number 423, Todd McFarlane cover. Really awesome. This is a sketch or ink edition. It's labeled as the sketch cover. This is Spectral Comics, Special Edition B. So 9.8 on this one. Really cool. Super iconic Todd McFarlane cover. So really cool on that one. And this was another Damian book I had sent in. This is Batman number 656. It's the issue right after 655. So you get the first full appearance of Damon and a Talia al Ghul appearance. This book's heating up a little bit too. Not as popular as Batman number 655, but I did get a 9.8 on this. It's an older book. It's from 2006. This was something that I just happened to purchased raw off of eBay. So to get it as a 9.8 was really great. It wasn't in, any spectacular condition. So I'm surprised it came back that high. So it's really cool. And then the last set of books were the Marvel books. So let me get those. So here were the Marvel books. On these, I had done the custom label on certain titles or issues. You can request a certain label, like Spider-Man. In this case, we have Spider-Gwen. And then you have some webbing behind the grade. So I thought it'd be pretty cool to have the custom label on here. So now these are books right around when I started getting back into collecting. This was 2015. It was during the popularity of Spider-Gwen. It was when Spider-Gwen first came out, her first appearance. And I had picked up a whole bunch of these books, and I've been holding on to them for a very long time. I used to have the first appearance of her, which I had sold, but I still had her first title series, Spider-Gwen number 1. So I had a whole bunch of these that I sent in. This book is also heating up right now, most likely because of the Into the Spider-Verse animated movie that just came out, and the popularity of the character, also with her first appearance going up extremely high in value. The first appearance, 9.8, I think it goes for a little over 1,000. So a lot of people are chasing this one right now because it's not as expensive. So I sent in a whole bunch of these Spider-Gwen number 1s with the custom label. So the first one, 9.8, really awesome. Second one, also a 9.8. I did all custom labels on these. It's 2. Third one, also a 9.8. So I think I had about 20 of these books at one point, and I sent in, I think, roughly somewhere between 5 and 10. So I tried to pick out the best ones from the bunch. However, a few did come back a little bit lower. Not too happy about that. 9.6. So we got 1, 3 as a 9.8, and then 196. Another 9.6. So 2, 3 9.6s. So not too happy about those 9.6s, but actually wait, I got one more 9.8. So four of them came back a 9.8. 3 of them came back a 9.6. So the seven of these I sent in. So overall, not too bad, but would have been better if they were all 9.8. I also had some variants of that title, Spider-Gwen #1. This was by Phantom Comics. They call them the Phantom variant, and it's the homage cover to Spider-Man #300 by Todd McFarlane. It's where they copy that cover image. So this was the color edition, the pink background. So 9.6 on this one. Again, would have been nice with the 9.8. It's an all white cover. Those are usually tough to grade, so it probably has a little bit of dirt somewhere on there that CGC wasn't happy with. But overall, it presents very well. I don't really see any issues with the cover. Maybe right there's a small, tiny tick they might have knocked me a point for. But the sketch or inked edition, I did get a 9.8. So this was the more rarer of the two books. They didn't make as many of these. So this was the Phantom sketch cover, 9.8. So super awesome. So overall, really happy with that haul that I sent in. I haven't sent in books to CGC in over 10 years. This many at once was something new to me. I've never done that all at once like that. So it was a fun experience, and it was fun seeing the grades come back. Hope you enjoyed also seeing the grades that came back. If you have any questions as far as sending books into CGC, feel free to comment down below, and I'll answer any questions. But as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next project. Take care.